The biggest economic shift of our lifetime is not coming. It is already happening, quietly, while most people are distracted. Not oil, not crypto, not real estate, artificial intelligence. Just like every major shift, the people who benefit most are not the loudest, hardest working, or most visible. They are the ones who understand what is changing before everyone else does. In every era, there is a resource that reshapes power. In the industrial age, it was coal and steel. In the 20th century, it was oil. Today, it is intelligence itself, automated, scalable, and owned by very few. Most people think AI is about tools, about prompts, about convenience, about chatbots that write emails faster. That is not what this is really about. This is about ownership, control, leverage, and who decides how value flows in the next 50 years. To understand what is happening, we need to step back and look at history. In the 1800s, when gold was discovered, millions rushed west. Ordinary people believed that if they worked hard enough, they would strike it rich. A few did, but the vast majority didn't. The real winners were not the miners. They were the ones who sold the shovels, the ones who owned the land. They controlled the railroads, the banks, and the routes to market. They didn't chase gold. They positioned themselves around it. Oil followed the same pattern. When oil was discovered, people saw fuel, energy, machines. What they didn't immediately see was power, geopolitics, control over nations. The oil barons didn't just sell oil. They shaped governments. They influenced wars. They decided which countries rose and struggled. They owned the infrastructure everyone depended on. AI is following the exact same script, only faster. Today, data is the raw resource. Models are the refineries. Platforms are the land. And intelligence is no longer limited by human time or energy. One system can replace thousands of hours of labor. One model can serve millions of users. One decision by a small group can reshape entire industries. This is why AI is not just a technology revolution. It is a power revolution. And power always concentrates before it spreads. Right now, we are in the early phase. The phase where things still look optional. Where people say, "It's interesting, but I'll wait." Where adoption feels like a choice. That phase never lasts long. Most people misunderstand where the money in AI actually comes from. They think it's about learning how to use tools, about prompting better, about automation tricks. That's like thinking wealth in the oil era came from buying petrol. The real money is not in usage. It is in ownership. Ownership of models, ownership of platforms, ownership of distribution, ownership of infrastructure. That is why a small number of engineers command salaries that seem unreasonable. That is why tiny teams can build companies worth billions. That is why entire industries now depend on systems built by a handful of people. This is not hype. This is leverage. Technology doesn't reward effort equally. It rewards position. When productivity explodes, labor becomes less valuable than coordination and control. One person with the right system can outperform entire organizations. This is uncomfortable to hear, but it is essential to understand. AI does not democratize power by default. It centralizes it first. Jobs disappear not because people are lazy, but because systems change the cost of output. Middle roles vanish. Repetitive work collapses. Decision-making compresses upward. What remains valuable is not doing the work, but deciding how the work is done and who benefits from it. This is why inequality grows during technological transitions. Not because technology is evil, but because ownership is uneven. Every major shift creates three groups: those who see it early and position themselves, those who adapt late and struggle, and those who never adapt at all. Most people will fall into the second group, not because they lack intelligence, but because they waited too long. Every gold rush sounds ridiculous at the beginning. People said the internet was a fad. They said social media was pointless. They said smartphones were unnecessary. By the time it became obvious, the land was already owned. That is what is happening with AI right now. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for certainty before moving. Waiting until the opportunity feels safe. Waiting until everyone agrees. By then, you are no longer early. You are renting access from those who were. This does not mean you need to become an elite engineer overnight. That is not the message. The message is that you must move from being a consumer of systems to a participant in them. From using tools to understanding how they create leverage. From asking what AI can do for you to asking where power is accumulating. This could mean learning the fundamentals of how models work. It could mean building AI-enabled businesses. It could mean positioning yourself close to people and organizations that own infrastructure. In every era, proximity to leverage determines outcomes. People who understand this early don't panic. They prepare. They don't chase trends. They study incentives. They don't ask how to work harder. They ask where to stand. The future will not be evenly distributed. Some people will own systems. Some will pay for access. Some will be replaced without fully understanding why. This is not meant to scare you. It is meant to wake you up. Because the future does not ask for permission. It does not wait for consensus. And it does not slow down to explain itself. 10 years from now, many people will say this happened suddenly. It did not. It happened quietly, while attention was elsewhere. This channel exists to give clarity in the middle of noise, to talk about power, economics, and technology without hype or fear. If you want to understand who really owns the future, where leverage is moving, and how to position yourself before the rules fully change, then stay here. Because the AI gold rush is not coming. It is already here. And the most dangerous place to be is watching it from the sidelines, thinking you still have time.